Socrates, of all people, made a very, very important point. He said that insecure labor is better than secure labor, okay, which is the paradox, because insecure labor doesn't induce you to have a false consciousness that everything depends on my job. The ancient Greeks made a distinction between work, which is what you do with your friends and your relatives around the home, and it's something to do with being a part of the community, and labor. Labor you do for a boss, you do for exchange value, and it's a stupid thought to think that jobs should be providing great meaning to our lives. I think it's a false consciousness, because a job is done for a particular purpose, to make money for a firm that's employing you, and I don't think it's correct to expect it to be providing life satisfaction and everything. Frederick Taylor devised the job structures of the 20th century and the division of labor and the Fordism that goes all the way through the whole 20th century. And his idea was that an ideal job structure is when the workers don't have to do any thinking. The thinking is done by the bosses and the managers. So I think it's a false agenda. But I think it's very important to realize that we are at a magnificent moment when some Jeremiahs are saying work is going to disappear. Elon Musk and things are saying that. And some people are saying that, and as I'm saying in my book, which is we are on the cusp of saying we need a revival of work, because work is what makes us human, and get away from the jobs fetish. We get our pleasure and enjoyment in care work, which is the most valuable form of work in society, but in jobs gets a value of 0. I mean, this is madness. So unpaid care, which is really valuable, is given a 0 value. It's crazy, all right? But the biggest thing that we need to do is to revive commoning, shared activities, in allotments, in volunteering, in ecological work. And that, I think, is the exciting point we're at. If you can get decent labor, and some people have decent jobs, okay, that's great. And that's the thing. What I think it's important to realize is that work embraces many other forms of activity. And I hate the total concentration on using the word work when actually we mean labor, okay? And by the very use of that word, we lose the debate. Because really what we should be talking about is enabling people who are doing all forms of work activity to have a sense of freedom, emancipation, and development through those activities. And that's why I think commoning is so important. And again, as I've made point in the book, which was Socrates, of all people, made a very, very important point. He said that insecure labor is better than secure labor, okay, which is the paradox, because insecure labor doesn't induce you to have a false consciousness that everything depends on my job, okay? And that, I think, is a sense of freedom. And that's why when I'm talking to a precariat group, I've written a couple of books on the precariat, they get that. They usually, people in the precariat get it. Don't tell me I'm going to make my happiness through my job. I do the job because I need the money, okay? And I do get a bit of enjoyment. But tell me that I've got a broader life. And I think we have to alter the vocabulary and the imagery that goes with the vocabulary. And that's why I believe that we have to resurrect commoning, which historically was the most important form of work, historically. And I show that. People wanted to common. And then it became, as capitalism developed, commoning became something that was the capitalists regarded as parasitic, because it was blocking people from fulfilling a duty to labor, okay? And it's that sort of false consciousness that I think is important to overcome. Universal credit puts jobs and the search for jobs in such a level of punitive action. If you're not in a job, you're a skydiver. Yeah? which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I think we really have to be thinking about meaningful development of ourselves through our different forms of activity, including political work, which is so important but is marginalized. It's not called work. And that's why we have thin democracy today.
To continue watching this video, click the link in the top left or in the description below. Or visit iai.tv for more debates and talks from the world's leading thinkers on today's biggest ideas.